The second beatitude in Jesus' list is a bit of a surprise. Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted. And that is a bit of a shock for us because we always read in the Bible that God likes us to rejoice in Him. Rejoice and be glad. And then let us always rejoice. Apostle Paul says, I will say it again, rejoice in the Lord always. Then how can Jesus say, blessed are those who mourn? Because mourning is the opposite of rejoicing. So I thought we are supposed to rejoice, then God is happy because we are blessed in so many ways. But here is a beautiful truth. There is something deeply spiritual in sadness. Spiritual sadness is not something we like to think about or talk about. Very few people teach about it. But you know, in the scriptures, God likes people who are spiritually sad. Blessed are they who mourn. Now, why do people mourn? I think we are sad for two main reasons. We are mourning, we are grieving because we have lost something. When we lose a loved one, or when we lose a job, or we lose a family member, or we lose money, we become sad. So the loss of something brings sadness. But then there is also another reason why we become sad. When people become spoiled. When a good person suddenly becomes bad, and a helpful, kind person, for some reason in their life, they become angry, they become full of temper, and they take revenge, and they become very ugly and ungodly. And so there are two reasons why we become sad. And I think it is the second one that Jesus is talking about. Blessed are those who mourn, because they will be comforted. Now, what is this mourning? Sadness about we have lost something. Do you know that God is very sad when people move away from Him? In a way, we could say He has lost them. People wander away. We have a wonderful story in the Gospel of Luke. We call it the parable of the lost son, the prodigal son. We know that the father must have been grieving the son who left him. And that is why you see when the son returned, what a lot of celebration there was. But we're talking now about the mourning. When God loses a precious soul because they want to go a different way. They want their own life. They do not want to submit to God. They don't want to be controlled by God. They don't want to be bothered about the things of God. They want to live independently. They want to be free from the control of God. They become lost. And that is why God mourns. Do you mourn when a person becomes wicked? When a person becomes sinful? When a child grows up and they are so sweet as a child, but then what happens when they become a teenager? They start getting into bad habits. They make bad friends. And then we look at them and we say, what happened to this child? It's like they've become lost. I have lost them. And many parents, I think, they go through mourning. They go through sadness. They go through grieving because something good has become bad. Something beautiful has become spoiled. So I want to ask you, when you look at the world today, the terrible increase in wickedness, right here in India, you open the newspaper, a mother murdering a child, a son murdering his father, brothers turning other people against their own family members. We look at that and we say, how sad, how terrible. The danger comes is with all our busyness in life that we just ignore this bad news. I think God is looking for people who are moved, who are sad, who mourn about these things. And why? Dear friends, why should we mourn? Because our Father in heaven is mourning. His heart is breaking when He looks at the pain in the world, when He looks at the brokenness in people. He cries, He mourns. when you see how people are dying and moving away from God, it grieves the heart of God. God is brokenhearted. And here the question is, if we want to be like God, if we want to follow the ways of Jesus, do we mourn? Do we grieve when we see the brokenness in the world? When we see the pain in people's lives? Blessed are they who mourn. It means we are feeling God's pain. They will be comforted. So that's why the old hymn says, whatever the situation in our life, take it to the Lord in prayer. So whatever is breaking your heart, whatever is giving you sadness, whatever is making you so grievous and so mournful as you look at those who are suffering, take it to God. He understands it because He feels your pain, He feels your mourning, and He feels others who are suffering. He feels their pain, He feels their grief. They will be comforted. And this is something mysterious. How does God comfort us when we mourn? I think the greatest hidden secret in this is when we begin to mourn about the brokenness, the pain, and the evil in the world, we become very close to God because we realize God is mourning about the brokenness, the pain, and the evil in the world. And suddenly we are mourning with God together. That is a great comfort because we know now, God, you understand my feelings. You understand the pain. You know exactly how broken the world is. Thank you, God, for your comfort. You know my pain, you understand my pain, and you are walking with me through it as well.